Texas just passed 3 new housing bills that can change everything about how your future suburb neighborhood might be built. Cities, counties, even HOAs just lost a huge amount of control on when it comes to lot sizes, density, and infrastructure. In other words, things like sidewalks, school planning, drainage, green spaces, all these little things that used to go through the county or city are now being completely bypassed. Home builders can officially move faster and build tighter without anybody telling them no. Today I'm going to break down what laws passed, what they mean for you, and what they possibly mean in the future for the Texas suburbs. So first, let's talk about what exactly passed. Texas passed SB 15, SB 840, and HB 14. And on paper, they're basically about speeding up the home building process and permitting. In practice, this means they strip away a lot of the local authority. Before these laws passed, local government and HOA could really shape a development. They were in control of lot sizes, infrastructure, density of the neighborhood, whether commercial could be rezoned to residential, and they had a lot of time to push back on projects or completely deny them if it didn't seem like it made sense for that community or suburb. Now, that power is mostly gone. Home builders can just apply directly to the state. Cities now have shorter timelines and fewer ways to reject these things. Even HOAs, especially in master plan communities that still have sections that are not developed, unless those were pre-planned and locked down, the HOAs have less control over what happens in those sections after this bill passes. You would think that this might be a good thing, less government control, but the thing is that it was the wrong people who were lobbying for this. This was lobbied hard by the Association of Builders, major apartment developers, high production home builders. They contributed millions and millions to get these bills passed, and they got exactly what they want. Now, some of you might be thinking, hasn't Houston always had this kind of thing? And yes, the answer is yes. Houston has never had traditional zoning laws, but the suburbs are a totally different story. Areas like Cypress, Katy, Conroe, they did have zoning. They did have control over lot sizes and density. And now it's going to be completely different. That means the empty field behind your house or the section right next to you, if it's not pre-planned, can end up being 35-foot lots squished in like sardines next to your beautiful 60-foot lot. The office park nearby could turn into apartment buildings, and the city can no longer really stop it. Whole region is now playing by Houston's zoning rulebook, but without the same walkability and infrastructure as the city of Houston. So this bill was framed as to help the affordability crisis with housing. So the big question is, will it actually help with affordability? I mean, this is a big argument, right? More houses equals lower prices. The problem is that in these bills, there is nothing about affordability or requiring affordable homes. There are no price caps. There are no starter home requirements. There are no making housing affordable for the middle class requirements within these bills. Yes, removing red tape makes it easier and faster for home builders to push homes out, but there is nothing in these bills about having to push out affordable homes. Just more flexibility for high production builders to build more, faster, and smaller, and charge whatever the market allows. Plus, not to mention, we have a ton of home builder inventory sitting on the market in Texas. It's not an inventory issue anymore. It is an affordability issue. Affordability isn't just about supply, and I really feel like these bills are not addressing some of the root issues with affordability, which is rising property taxes, rising insurance costs, HOA fees that keep going up, none of which is addressed in these bills because these bills were mostly passed for home builders. So what does it mean if you're an existing homeowner in the suburbs? What can you expect in the future? I see it going one of two ways. The upside is your home value might actually go up. Bigger lots, mature landscaping, traditional layouts, this kind of home might start to actually stand out compared to the quickly built, overstuffed home builder stuff that might come out in the future. Your lot and home starts to feel like a premium. I foresee some buyers actively looking at more of the established areas that already are built out so they don't have to worry about new builds coming in right next to them. But there's also a downside for existing homes, because now if something dense and low quality pops up right next to you, home buyers are going to be looking at the area as a whole, not just your house. So if there's no longer sidewalks, there's no longer green space, it's not planned the way it originally intended, that could also hurt your home value in the future. Even if your home is in great shape, buyers are going to look at the entire area as a whole. So if you're in an area that is underdeveloped, over the coming years, it could very easily develop into something that you had not intended or planned that it would in the future. So if you're in a development that still has future phases, maybe just check with your HOA and make sure that everything is secured and protected with the HOA rules before these bills go into effect. For once, you want the HOA to push and restrict these things before the bills go into effect. Also, I just want to touch base on what new construction home buyers should be aware of since this bill goes into effect this year. It's absolutely no secret that home builders are throwing out incentives right now. Rate buy-downs, closing costs, design center credits, it all seems really good. But something to keep in mind, even if they reduce your price a little bit, is that those incentives are still baked into the price that you're paying for that home. Even though your monthly feels lower, when you try to go to resell these new build homes, which I think we're going to see even more of since they now have even less regulation, is that the home you spent $450,000 on for those incentives and lower payments, the next buyer is not getting those freebies. They're not getting the rate buy down. They're not getting the lower monthly payment. They're not getting the free upgrades and all that. So they're not going to want to pay what you paid for it, especially if you're trying to sell within 5 years. There's no way, especially if the builder is still actively building close by and offering new incentives. And that's how a lot of people buying new construction homes, especially in 2025 and probably over the next couple of years, end up underwater, especially if they have to sell fairly quickly. And now if builders can build as much as they want and even faster, the competition is just going to get worse. So now I'm always actively telling my clients it's not just about appreciation you have to consider, it's also, can I resell this home in the future? Because just because your home is appreciating does not mean that it is resellable, especially in a market like today. Builders are in the business of volume and profitability. They are not concerned about your resale value or the integrity of the area once they move out of it. That is up to you to make sure you're making good decisions. So what do we do then? I mean, the law is passed. It's here. If we like it or not, it's how do we move smartly, knowing that these new bills are going to go into effect. If it were me, I would probably stick to places that are already built out, something that's a little bit more guaranteed. Look for bigger lots, good schools, streets that don't feel crammed. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, as it helps the algorithm know that this is good information. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.